welcome to Between Us Girls Radio. We're so glad you're here tonight. Please take off your heels, put on some good comfy sweatpants, make a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you'd like, and just sit with us and enjoy. We got an hour of a really incredible and hopefully organizing topic. We're going to be talking about beautiful mess. So we all have it. We all have a beautiful mess. We're going to call it beautiful to make ourselves or give ourselves like a break on it, but figure out how to organize it and clean it up.
Yes.
Yes, so we're so excited you're here. And we wanted to recap last week. We talked about what's on your plate. So we did some Eats for Life.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're doing the 30-day challenge to change a lifestyle or create healthy habits when it comes to eating. And we all three of us chose different lifestyle to follow for 30 days. So we're going to actually do want to know how yours are going. Alina, how's yours going?
It's going good. I'm surprised that my hardest area has been, I thought I didn't realize how much I snacked, like salty snacks, like goldfish and chips. And
goldfish is gold.
Yeah, and I find myself craving that. And so I didn't realize that would be so hard to give up. But I also learned something about myself. The later it gets at night, the harder it is to resist temptation. Like, I just cannot say no. And it's also hard when you're making something not to eat it.
Yeah, because take little like tastes and bites.
Well, I'm allowing myself like something sweet once a week, but I was at my sister's house and she asked me to make some brownies. And so I was making them, and by the time I was done, it was late at night. By the time I was done, I was like, I am going to have a brownie. I cannot stand this anymore. And I like a brownie and a half.
And then there was like a magical cup of milk there just waiting for you.
I did have some milk too.
Magical 300 calories, but waiting as well.
I think if it was noon, I probably would have been able to say no. But because I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the clock, something happens at midnight, you know? You just cannot resist temptation. So.
And brownies. I don't blame you. I saw your picture of your red snapper. And you told me that your sister and her husband,
yes, yeah,
they had gotten fresh red snapper.
Yeah,
oh my goodness,
that was a good fish.
Man, I should have picked Mediterranean style eating.
I've eaten more fish in this past week than I think I've ever eaten in a week in my life.
So good.
So I'm liking it so far, but we'll see.
See, I could do that just because I love fish, and I can replace all the meats with fish, and I would be just fine. So maybe that's something I'll try in a feature as well.
Yeah.
Maybe this will turn into a 60-day.
Maybe this will turn into lifetime.
No, I don't want 60 days challenge
oh, yes,
for
that's
mine.
true. Okay, how's yours been?
Yes.
So I'm doing Daniel's fast, and it's very limiting, like in what you can eat. You have to get really creative to like order sides of different
Especially
things
at a restaurant, right?
instead of a meal. Just because most of full meals have things that you can't eat, so I have to get really creative. But I'm doing well so far. Coffee is hard to not drink in an office environment. I think it's more of a routine for me. It's not really need. It's not like I'm falling asleep, but it's on my mind. Like I got up probably 10 times on a first day when I was not drinking coffee to go get coffee. I came into a break room with my cup and I was like, you know what? I can't. Why am I here? And I've done it so many times throughout the day.
But you got more steps in a day.
Yes.
Did you realize how much you're dependent on coffee?
Yes. And of course you get physical headache as well. Like I have headache. So I guess the
withdrawal of it?
Yeah, withdrawal.
That's
I'm
why
not sure exactly what's going on with your body when you withdraw from coffee, but I had that. And I was dealing with that for actually 2 days in a row. But I'm good now, and I feel good.
So do you feel like so much more energy with it?
Yes, it's surprising just because a lot of people, when they don't eat meat or when they have to limit themselves to vegetables and fruits, they say, oh, I don't have energy, you know. I have a lot of energy, so I'm completely fine on this diet as far as energy level. I just need to get used to finding hot foods because I want hot food for lunch all the time. So I can't have just the salads. I have to be creative, like looking for things for lunch.
Yeah.
So Tati, what about you?
Mine has been good. I've been subbing out things to make it a little bit healthier. I did, this morning I did like a 10-minute video. I need you ladies to be near me when I'm talking because it was 10 minutes. And when I got done, I was like, oh no.
I was watching it.
It's like, wow, that was a
too.
long video. I'm like, nobody was there to stop me. But it was good. I was talking about how I switched out my creamer because I like my coffee like beige color. And so when I use hazelnut creamer, it's a lot of sugar and it's just not the best for you. And I have it I only have 1 cup a day, but still that's more than I should have with the sugar. So switching it to soy creamer and doing different things, and I like it. So far, I feel good. Like after I eat, I don't feel heavy, which is nice. So that like I don't feel like I just stuffed myself. So I like it so far.
Do you feel like you could continue that lifestyle? Something you would want to adapt into your diet?
It takes more time. Prepping and cooking takes more time, but I think so as long as I don't make the excuse of like, man, I just want to sleep in a little more. Like, no, wake up and make your lunch, because then that's when you get in trouble, because you have to go get fast food. You have to figure out a way to eat something quick, and so.
So it sounds like besides just eating habits, it changes a lot of other things in your life, like the routine and scheduling and managing time.
Priorities for sure, and it's so important. I mean, what you put in is what you get out, because your body reacts to it so much. So. I'm excited to see next week how we feel, for sure. So current events, what's going on today? So in Atlanta, it's great. We are booming for film industry and for different movies. And it's kind of cool because every now and then you see someone, you're like, that person looks familiar. They must be in a movie. And there's one coming up called Front Runner. Hugh Jackman is going to be in it. He's going to be the star, star actor. I don't know if that's how you say it, but he's starring in it. Lead. There you go. See, I don't know my logo or my lingo yet. But there's a casting for extras. They want news crew, age 30 and up, with a 90s hairstyle. So I'm sure you can make your own hairstyle. Lots of hairspray, lots of front bangs, I'm sure. And the filming is going to be September 8th through October 23rd in Atlanta. Wow. And unfortunately, when I saw the pay, I was like, oh, I don't know if that's worth it. But it's $68 for 8 hours. So it's about $8.50 an hour. But
wow.
I mean, I guess you get to be in a movie, and you'll be holding cameras and mics, and you're pretending to be a reporter. So maybe people will get famous from it. If you're looking to expand your resume, for actress or actor, this is perfect. It's called Front Runner.
It might sound like it's fun, but I think it's hard work.
Yeah, probably. To
be there with, because I know a person. So I have a friend who does this, Maya, and she said that she was a part of one scene. She's an extra for a lot of different things, but one particular scene where she had to look up for 2 hours, literally like look up in the sky and like your neck hurts.
Does it ruin movies for her, being an extra?
No, she loves it. Really? I think it takes a passion to be able to do that for a little bit of money.
And she got paid like $15 for it.
Or $20 or something, but it's really hard work. Because sometimes she's exhausted after doing something like that.
I feel like if you are there and you see how they do all these action scenes and everything, it ruins it for you, because
as far as watching the movie? Yeah.
Like, does it ruin like when she sees these cool scenes, everyone else is like, wow, that was cool. She like, I just stood there for 2 hours. It wasn't as cool as it looks like on the screen.
You know what? I've never asked her, but that's a good question. I think I'm going to ask her.
You'll have to see.
And anything else going on in Atlanta?
Well, that was the biggest one that I liked. Now, Georgia Tech is doing some really cool things again with new building and new software in that robotics lab, so that's really cool. But that was my favorite. A lot of the film right now, a lot of the news about film, about different organizations that are linking up, different stuff that's going on with Pinewood Studios, Third Rail Studio. I mean, it's a lot. So the film is like a big part of it for sure. And then the other one, of course, is unfortunately...
the Hurricane Harvey in Houston area, well, the whole southern Texas is really struggling right now. So it's so bad to see what's going on. Like, it's heartbreaking to see all the devastation that happened in the area and what people are dealing with. It's horrible.
It's crazy.
So it went from first to second to third to fourth category hurricane.
Wow.
So
and fourth is the highest category, right?
I think it goes higher than that, like the destructive hurricane. this is more flooding. So it wasn't, the hurricane itself wasn't as strong, but it brought a lot of rain, and like the flood is what they're dealing with right now, not the actual hurricane damage. So it ended up being Hurricane Category 4. It landed in Corpus Christi, and then it took off, went back into the bay, gained some power, and came back and hit again.
No.
So, yeah. And actually, right now, it's coming back again, so it should be hitting Texas, Louisiana
Oh, my
point
goodness.
with another 10 inches of rain or something like that. So it'll bring more flooding. And it's horrible to see what people are dealing with. But it's kind of, I started researching it and just looking at what's going on, how the state is dealing with it, what authorities are doing, and what's going on in general with people and how bad the situation is. And I loved what I was seeing with people getting engaged and how much help regular people offer. It was just
and it's
amazing.
people that are in Texas still
Yeah.
helping each other.
Incredible to see how
Yeah.
local sports teams, politicians, I mean, anyone different, like any industry got involved, and just so much going on with, uniting together to help each
That's
other.
true, yeah, uniting
And
for sure.
a few cool things that I saw was Houston Texans, that's a sports team, and NFL Foundation.
I love
Both.
that you said that's a sports team, a football team. It's a huge football team.
Well, maybe there's someone like me who wouldn't know what it was. Texans. Okay.
Great
But yeah,
football team, yes, okay.
they each pledged $1 million towards the relief work going on there. Also, President Trump went there today with First Lady, and they met with Greg Abbott, who's the governor of Texas, and a few different authorities in that region, with some leaders of relief efforts, and they kind of looked at the level of devastation, what they need, and they'll be sending more help, and they'll be kind of assigning more government departments to help.
Okay.
So that was good to see that government's involved, and there's so much stuff going on as far as outside of Texas help coming in. And of course, everyone wants to know how they can help, because right now, I wish I could do something, and I was looking for ways to help. And what I found was going on local in Atlanta. There are two things that I want to mention. One is that all the radio stations, not all, but a lot of radio stations and different media departments and companies got together and created a really cool project that's called Convoy of Care. So they're accepting water bottles at their Channel 2 Action News location in Atlanta. So anyone can bring a case or 2 cases or just loose water bottles, whatever you want to donate, and they're packing up trucks and sending to Houston area into their warehouse, and they'll be distributing to people in need.
Okay.
So that was really cool. And then a church in Gainesville, maybe most of you probably heard of it, Free Chapel.
Okay.
They're doing a really cool project as well. They're buying things that they send to church, or they're flying things to church in Hope, Texas. I think, I haven't heard of that town before, but I think it's a town that is helping them distribute the things to people in need as well. So they have a donate button on their Facebook page.
Free Chapel.
Yeah, Free Chapel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Also, Facebook and Google are matching donations dollar to dollar for anyone who donates through them.
Wow.
So if you want your donation to double, you can do it through Google and Facebook. So if you go to Google search, if you type in Hurricane Harvey, you'll see a donation button right next to the first link that comes up. So that's something cool to get.
I love it.
Yeah, to
From
get more
here,
money. Mhm.
If you can't make it out there, if you can't, do too high of a donation fund-wise, this is perfect. Because
Yeah,
if you can
'cause
get
it
them to
doubles.
match and everyone does a little bit, it'll do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It'll help them out.
And also, if you want to help, like do some hands-on work, and you can keep checking the local churches. They're planning. I know Victor World, Buckhead Church, then Free Chapel normally send local mission teams to help with cleanup and restoration work. So it'll probably be happening when the flood is down and
Now, an interesting side note about this, because I was kind of reading up on this on the hurricane as well, but a lot of people have been reporting that they're seeing alligators and snakes in their yard. And a wildlife biologist in Texas says that don't be surprised if you see it, because even in your garage or your attic, because they had to evacuate too, you know?
Oh.
And the craziest thing I saw, though, was how these fire ants survive flooding. So they're like super survivors when it comes to flooding. What they do is they come out of the soil and they come together by the thousands, and they form like a floating raft on top of the water.
Wow.
And it is the grossest thing when you see it. It's just a bunch of like thousands of ants like piled on top of each other to keep from drowning. So everyone's trying to stay alive, stay
I
safe.
did not know that like fire ants, red ants that we have that do that. I didn't know that. Very cool.
I didn't know that either.
So our prayers are with you, Houston,
Yes.
and we're going to try to do as much as we can here, and hopefully this goes by quickly. So I guess now we can kind of start talking about planning and figuring out, amongst your schedule, how you can help others in a way, but figuring out planning and organizing. And in a way, when you hear this, you're like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I want to figure out, how to organize and do all this stuff.
No, it's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. I wish everyone could see Alina's planner. It's a good, 2 inches? And
yes,
it has tabs,
I love it.
And it is custom made.
It is.
Really? Is it?
Yeah. Yes, she ordered it specifically.
Wow.
The first time we met, I remembered. I noticed. I was like, "Ooh, that girl knows her planners. She knows what she's doing."
We can talk about that later if we have time. But yes, I think that time is the most expensive commodity. The most expensive commodity that we have.
Every person that's older is like, man, I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they say it.
You can always make more money. You can never get back more time, though. And you can't get back the time that you lost. And that's probably the reason I'm so obsessed with planning and planners and stuff.
I love it. So I wanted to see kind of what the 10 common habits, or just any common habits of people that are successful but are well organized. And I guess I want to tie in successful and well organized.
Well, when I looked at this list, I found this list online on Business Insider, and they did a lot of analyzing of who becomes successful and what habits they use. So it's organized and successful together, this specific list.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
So the 10 things that are on that list, first one is write things down, that you cannot remember everything, so you manage every area of your life better if you write things down, if you do things when you have to do them.
Yeah.
Okay? So because if you miss out on something, it can cause more work or bring more mess maybe
And get
into
you,
your schedule.
like, not focused, and then you're like, man, I failed on that part, so you're not thinking about the next. That makes
and
sense.
you rework stuff sometimes just because you didn't do it when you could have done it all at once.
Yeah. Okay.
Second one is making schedules and deadlines. So, which is especially for businesses, if you want to be successful in things that require any scheduling, any deadline or time-sensitive work, you have to make sure that you write that down. Not just write it down, keep it in mind and get it done before that date. Then don't procrastinate. That's
so easy to say.
Yes. That's one of the, that's like
just don't do
man.
it. I wish I could just say, okay.
Yes, and then it would just follow along.
Yeah.
Because
In
we do
college,
that
it was
with
huge for me.
Yeah.
I procrastinated a
Yeah.
lot. But the
And
main
did
tip
that
I got,
affect your
absolutely. I lost so much sleep. I was exhausted, and I know that when you get more sleep, you can function way better on anything you're doing. You can think better. You're more focused. You're more calm. Yep.
But you know what? That brings stress into your life because we do that with most important things sometimes. Like something that's
so
hard but important, that we carry it with us. Like, it's not done. It's not done. I'll do it, but it's not done.
Yep.
I've been listening to like organization podcasts and stuff, and some professional organizers have said that perfectionists are actually procrastinators. Because they're like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. I can't do this until it's done right. but really they're just procrastinators. So I'm like, that's really interesting.
That's a strong statement too for a perfectionist all over the world. They're like, excuse me.
So their schedule is not perfect.
Yes.
Or yeah.
Wow. That, I guess that makes sense though, because you are, and that's one of the things I found is to be able to let go. So some of the things, the details that you're being bogged down by, let it go a little bit, and you'll be surprised that everything will still work out like you wanted to. And you'll be okay. You know, it'll still be successful. It'll still work out, because if you focus on it too long, when you spend too long on a project, you wasted time, and it's no longer you're getting things done. It's your like prolonging a process, and then you're not getting the next step done.
Yeah, it's not a matter of, it's a matter of priority, not lack of time. And I have really been forced to face this past week. This has really opened up my mind. So you have 168 hours every week, right? 168. That's a lot. That's a lot of hours.
168?
Yes.
Okay.
Every week. So if you have a 40-hour work week and you sleep 8 hours, that's still 72 hours. Besides your work, besides your sleep. And if you add in travel, commuting, that's 10 hours. So 62. And they say if you own a home, 28 hours a week is what it takes to maintain a home. 28 hours, that's kind of a lot. That's like a part-time job.
That is a lot.
But if you own a home and you take care of it, and you have a full-time job, and you commute, and you sleep 8 hours a night, you still have 34 hours a week for anything else you want to do.
Okay.
So like you really do have
plenty of time.
Yeah, you do have time. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, what do I spend my time on? Where do those 34 hours go? They seem to just disappear.
That's one of the other things I found is like drop the excuses, because it's easier said than done, because let's face it, when I'm in the moment, I'm like, no, I have so many things to do, and I really don't. And I have plenty of time, or I don't have plenty of time. But sometimes you do need to drop the excuses, and you have plenty of time. You just need to, like you said, write it down, put a deadline for some goals, and get it done. The things that need to be done, get it done for sure.
Yep. So the next thing on the list is giving everything at home, knowing where everything belongs.
I've heard that before.
It's either at home, car, office, anything that you do, anywhere you need to organize, give everything at home.
Yeah.
Next one is declutter on a regular basis.
Okay.
And it takes away things that stand in the way.
Obstacles.
Yes.
Okay.
Keep only what you need. So don't keep things that you don't need, because they, again, stand in a way and take away from your time, because you're dealing with things that are not needed in your life.
Okay.
Then knowing where to discard items. Then 3 more. Stay away from bargains. Don't buy things that you don't need to buy.
That's a good one.
Because you bring a lot of things that you're dealing with later.
Can we not say that on the air so that we don't have to keep accountable for that one? It says stay away from bargains?
Yes.
Is this for women or for men? What is this?
Probably most for women, because we do that.
Yes.
But it makes you buy things you don't need when you find a bargain.
That's true.
Then delegate responsibilities. Don't try to do everything by yourself. Yes,
that's a great one for work.
That's business, anything. Yeah.
If you just delegate a little bit, even just a little bit, each person will feel involved. Each person will have something to present and be proud of, and give you 100% of those little small things that you delegated. And then at the end, you'll feel like a team. You'll feel better relationship amongst each other, and things will get done. And no one's stressed out and feel like, man, I did this all on my own. No one else helped.
Yes.
Can you tell I like that one? Yes. I really like that one.
And I think if there's someone else who can do that, you can do something that they cannot do. So it gives you time for more important things, or like things that are more unique to you.
I like it.
Yeah. And the last one is work hard.
There you go.
So I think that's a
self-explanatory.
Yes.
What about work smart, not hard?
There you go.
Or
smarter, not harder.
I'll give you an example. This past week, so I'm involved in my Sunday school, and they wanted us to make these little like minute to win it games for our classes and stuff. And I knew it would take me some time to do the research and look up these games and narrow it down to what games I wanted to do. But I remember that my sister had just done the same thing a few months ago because we had kids camp. So she came up with and researched so many like different games that they could play in a minute. And so I just texted her, I'm like, hey, you know, do you have any game ideas for this minute to win it? And she sent me like 3 ideas, and I'm like, done.
There you go.
You know, so sometimes beneficial to work smarter.
Yes, rather than harder.
What I think this meant is put an effort into what you're doing, something that you actually have to do. Make sure that you get
it's
it done
right.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I like it. So before we kind of dive into talking about some tips and some ideas, I wanted to play a little video of some very wise women. Now, I want to make sure that everyone knows, because you can't see them, they're older women. So I think that speaks a lot to their wisdom, because they've lived their years, and they kind of can tell you and vouch for time and all the things that we're trying to figure out now with it. So let's hear them out.
If I were a young woman now, I'm not sure how I'd cope.
With all the things that you have, the opportunities, the technology, I'd like to think it could be a world of pleasure.
But I fear instead it would only be a world of pressure. Pressure to be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect friend.
Pressure to be successful, a boss, a leader.
If I had my time again, I wouldn't create a to-do list. I'd create a to-don't-do list.
I'd give myself the time to indulge in the things that I now understand are the most important.
What I wouldn't give to extend those goodnight kisses instead of moaning about having to get up early in the morning.
Oh. What I wouldn't give for an extra second of cuddling my babies before they became too big to hold.
What I wouldn't give for 5 more minutes on the dance floor while my legs were still strong enough to carry me.
And this isn't about stopping our fight for equality.
Mine was a generation who burnt their bras.
But we were never in danger of burning out.
No. This is simply about you as a human being. There's the most important word, being. Being lost in the moment.
Being at peace with the world.
Being kinder to myself.
Being kinder to others.
Being able to let go and being proud to do so.
Believe me, if I were a young woman now, I'd spend more time being.
Not doing.
I love that. I love that she said, I'd spend more time being, not doing. And so I think we all need that every now and then when we're trying to figure out our long list and what we're trying to accomplish, is just to remember, okay, let's remember the whole big picture. Yes, I'll get all these things done, but what's the whole big picture? And I love the lady that said, I wouldn't make a to-do list. I'd make a to-don't-do list.
Yes.
And I saw this video maybe a couple days ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and I actually started looking around, kind of figuring out what's a to-don't-do list. And so this is actually a tip that's just from me, just from trying it out. My to-don't-do list is my list of things that I may think are so important when I've got 10 things to do and 10 places to go and 10 people to follow up with. My to-don't-do list is what's not important. So things, and for me, things like, oh man, that full sink of dishes, but this friend needs to have a conversation with me that maybe she needs to talk with me, or maybe I need to talk to someone, or my husband needs time with me, or my family wants to, sit and chat. The stuff that really doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. Things like, and it may sound like an excuse on some days, so you do have to make sure that you're differentiating, but things that when you wake up in the morning, are you going to be more fulfilled from putting the shoes up, or are you going to be more fulfilled from spending one-on-one time writing in your journal, or talking with your husband, or playing a game with your kids or your family? So that's what I think of a to-don't-do list, because I think it's important, because once you make this long list and you forget to put in spontaneous things that happen or the important things, then you get bogged down and you're not focusing on the things you need to do.
Yes.
You're forgetting the important thing, which is being. So I love those ladies. I'm like, okay, they're wise. They know what they're doing, what they're saying. I think that's I guess my number one. My number two tip that I really like is say no. Say no to things that maybe during the week you don't really need. So maybe if, you've got 3, 4, 5 different outings that your friends want you to go with, maybe say no to a few of them, because if you do too much, you're not going to be able to handle it. You're not going to be happy going, and you're not going to be happy staying home. You're going to be just unhappy at both.
I agree. And that's so important to do, just because so much stuff comes up. If we end up saying yes to everything, we take away from other important things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's something that I have to work on, but I do agree with that because I'm working on that now.
Yes, and even
saying no to things.
Yeah, at work, let's say they offer you 4 or 5 projects, and it sounds great because, man, you could, if you succeed in them, imagine all the achievements you'd have on your belt. But then on the other hand, it's like, am I going to sleep at one point? I can take all these things on my plate, but for me, from my health, is it going to be better for me, just for my well-being, so that I stay sane and focused? Am I going to give also 100% to everything, or is it going to be 30 here, 20 here, and then I have nothing left for home and for me?
Definitely,
so
a good balance is important.
Oh yeah. Another one that's, I guess it'll tie for second place, is pick the most important first. Most important first, so that then if something comes up, like you get a flat tire or you're stuck in traffic, you can kind of say, okay, this wasn't that important. I already got my, 3 things done that I needed to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So then I can kind of have some wiggle
well.
room. I think that one is huge. I wanted to, because one of the things that I would like to do more of is to spend that one-on-one time and do some journaling, do some devotionals. And I was looking at one of my devotionals, and they had a verse in there that I thought was actually very interesting for this. A sluggard's appetite is never filled, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. And I liked that for the excuses. And for, well, I don't know if I have enough time, or no, I just don't think I can do it, when really you can. You just have to prioritize and maybe take out, the 3 hours of TV show binging, or, or the
just 3 hours.
Yeah, only 3, but no. But then when you're looking at the end of your life, you want to make sure you spent all the time you could wisely.
Yes.
So I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear, Alina, you mentioned some really great tips. I wanted to hear some of yours.
Well, I heard this term before, Parkinson's law. I don't know if you guys have heard it.
I've never heard of it.
Never. I saw that and I was like, what? Because the only thing I've heard of Parkinson's is, disease. So that's why I was like, okay.
It's the last name of a man who coined it in the 1950s. So basically this says that the more time you've been given to do something, the more time it will take you to do it. Basically, work expands to fill the time that you've been given to do that work. So it's amazing how much you can get done in 20 minutes when all you have is 20 minutes, right? But if
when you're aware that you have, okay.
Yeah, like if you're like, okay, I have 20 minutes to do this, you can get it done in 20 minutes. But if you give yourself a whole afternoon, it will take you all afternoon. It's psychologically, that's how it works. Is it like a mind trick? I guess so, yeah. Like your mind, you think, we were talking about this yesterday. One of you had a situation where you said, I think it was you, Tati, you said, I have all afternoon to do this.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And then don't get it done.
And then you ran out of time.
Yes.
But it basically says that if you limit your time, you can get it done. But if you say, I'll get it done in the afternoon, it will take you all afternoon to do it. So I thought that was really interesting. But some of the top tips that I have heard over the years from various sources and that I've actually applied and I find they work, and you guys can back me up if you have done it as well.
Okay.
So narrow down the decisions that you have to make to a minimum. And I learned about it first when I learned about like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg, how they always dress in the same uniform. They do that so they can minimize their decision making. Because apparently every decision you make degrades your ability to make the next decision. So it's actually has a name. It's called decision fatigue. So the more decisions you make, the less productive you are in making your next decision. So eliminate as many decisions as you can. Have the same breakfast or have like around the same uniform every day. A routine, exactly. That's how you do it.
I do like routines because then I don't have to think about it. That's true.
Exactly.
Then I don't have to think about it, and I know this is coming up. Okay.
Yeah. The next one is plan your week on Sunday nights. So make a list of everyone you have to call, You can prep your car. So if like during the week you have some appointments, put all your papers in your car. So you're on the day of the appointment, you're not rushing around trying to find papers. You have everything prepared in your car ready to go. And the last one is swallow the toad first. So this is what you were talking about. Swallow the toad first. So you know that when you wake up, when you wake up in the morning, there's that one thing in the back of your mind that you're like, I really don't want to do that. And I've heard this over and over again and read it like everywhere, that you have to swallow the toad first. It gets it off your mind and you feel so much better. You feel so productive. So do that hard thing.
Okay.
When you're wide awake and fresh early in the morning. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yes.
That makes sense, because you can start off your day, like hit the ground running and and I guess if you just do it, you don't even have to think about it. So it kind of gets two birds in one stone.
And it makes rest of your day more pleasant, because you don't, you're not dealing with those thoughts.
And the last one is budget your time. So kind of like in financial planning, apparently Dave Ramsey said, he advises people to do this: take out envelopes and put a certain amount of money in each area that you have to spend in your life, right? And I heard that somebody recommend do the same thing for your money. I mean, not for your money, for your time. So budget your time. Think of, like, if you decide, okay, I'm going to read another hour of this book, think about what activity are you taking away from. So like it's the same thing with the envelope. If you have money in it, if you have some leftover money, you can put it into another envelope. And so time is the same way, If you're using that time to do an activity, to do something you're taking away from something else. So think about your time that way again.
I like that
way as well.
I like that a lot. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. At the very end, we'll give you some more ways and a call of action to help out Houston, Texas.
Yes.
Welcome back to Between Us Girls talk show, and we're talking about organization. We're talking about what's the best method to organize your time, organize your closet, car, workspace, calendar, or whatever else that you need organized in your life. So, Alina, tell us, what's your favorite method to organize your time?
My favorite method for organizing your time. So, I recently switched to the Daily Greatness Journal.
Okay.
And I won't go into too much detail about it, but at the beginning, it asks you all about your life, dreams, and your goals, and all these things. It took me like 2 days to fill out the beginning, but it really helped me to narrow down what tasks, what goals are the most important in my life. And this is the method that I use for almost every single day, and it works, and I've heard people mention it all the time, and it is honestly, it works beautifully. So I would say write out all the things that you have to do for the day, and then put it into 3 buckets: high impact, medium impact, or low impact. Basically meaning, how is this going to impact my life? If it's going to matter 5 years from now, if it's going to matter 10 years from now, it's high impact. And then you can determine what activities are going to be most impactful for your life. And once you do that, draw a big plus sign, and on the top write important and non-important, and then write urgent and not urgent. And those tasks that you deemed high impact, those will probably be your important tasks. And then you have to think, when does this have to get done? Is it urgent? If it is, it goes in that first box. And then you just do that for the rest of the graph. And so what I do is I focus on the really important stuff, the really urgent stuff. And that really helps you figure out, because what I realize is a lot of times when I get my day started, I'll start with the things that maybe aren't as important or are not as urgent. And I'll do those things first, but I'm still kind of stressed out at the end of the day. I feel like I really got nothing done. So this really helps you to figure out, okay, this is where my time, my energy has to be concentrated at today. And if you're looking at that graph, you cannot start with your most unimportant things. You're going to want to start with that urgent, important task and get it out of the way. So I love that method, and it really, really works.
I like that. I like that a lot. Do you ever feel, or not feel, how do I word it? The high impact, if you don't get it done or achieve it, do you ever feel like man, I failed, and maybe next time you're like, I don't want to put that on a high impact. Do you ever have that feeling? Or no?
No, I don't think so. I'll get done at least 2 or 3 things on that list.
Okay.
Or maybe even all of it. So you still feel pretty accomplished at the end of the day. You feel like you got the most urgent, the most important things out of the way.
So it's not intimidating. I don't know why I think intimidating. But
I think the only reason it would be intimidating is because those activities that are very important and very urgent are usually the ones that you want to do the least. You know, and the ones that are not as important, not as urgent, you're like, yeah, I'll start on those because they seem
it's
easy.
Easier, yeah.
So that's the most
that's
the most intimidating part. Just like, oh, I have to get started on this, but it works. I love it. I love that method. So a good way to organize your time.
Yeah, I want to try that too.
I need to try
Sounds
that
like something would work.
Maybe that will be your guys' challenge for the week. See if that works.
I would love to do that actually.
That would be a good way for me when I do the side things, like, and what I say by side thing, or what I mean by side things is like my hobbies or different like side project that I'm working on. That would be a great way to figure out what I need to get done that day for that specific thing, along with whatever else I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I
would love to show you guys afterwards.
Yes.
I love doing this. So
Awesome.
I'll show you.
We got to take a picture of your planner and the journal and show everyone, just because I'm very thoroughly impressed by it. I like it. But the other thing I want to talk about is how doing organization and I guess as well as prioritizing and time management, all of that in work. Because I think, well, work and personal life, because I think those two are like so extreme and so different and on like opposite sides. With work, it's like very responsible, very like, okay, everything is almost like in its own little slot and its own little like category, whereas personal life is kind of like, you know, what happens in a way. So how do you guys deal with work and time management and organization? And I guess by work I mean like your main income producing job or activity.
Well, mine's kind of routine because it's an office job, so everything's planned out for you. So I don't have a lot of room for plan. I don't have a choice not to do some things, you know. So for me, that's what works actually. Is if I get the hardest test done in the first half of the day, and then just get all the little details done. Kind of what
swallow the toad first.
What you were talking about, but it just didn't work, and it works well for me just because then I know how much time I have for all the little extra things and how much time or attention I can pay to things that are not as important.
Okay.
Well, you, Tati, you have your own business as well, so I think you'd be able to share a lot more insight.
In a way, I mean, I'm kind of looking for some tips.
Okay.
So that was my motivation for that question. But I like that, Tom, what you said is do that in the beginning, because when you wake up in the morning, it's like a fresh day, fresh start, and nothing bad has really happened yet. Mm-hmm. No, like, you know, disheartening phone call or, you know, this went wrong.
No
or this
emergency.
Nothing's gone wrong yet. You get your cup of coffee, you get your or tea in your case. But you kind of have like a good fresh start. And so I like getting the hardest task done first. And then, you know, after lunch or after like 1 or 2 o'clock, you get that slump and you're like, man, I just want to go home. And the time goes by slower. So I need to try that. But for me, what I do is I split up. So my side business with Rodan Fields, I split up my time with that on specific days. Or depending on the week or what I'm trying to achieve for that month or whatever my goal is I will do it before I come into work or on my lunch break, and I'll have like a specific thing that I need to do that day. If it's, you know, look for, I don't know, like a specific, I know what's a good example, a specific like mention in the press or some media about our business, I'll look at that, for example, on Monday during lunch. Or if I need to reach out and follow up with some people, see how they're doing, see how they like the product, see if they have any questions, or maybe they need to switch something out, anything like that, I'll do that maybe Tuesday and Wednesday morning. Because otherwise, if I mesh it all together, I won't give 100% to each. There's no way.
So you separate it by types of tasks.
Yeah, I have to for sure. And because if I'm at work, that's my full-time job, and I'm thinking about my business, then I'm not giving my work, 100%. Yeah. I'm thinking, okay, how can I make my own thing better?
Yeah.
I
think that that's a method that people use to organize in every aspect of their life. Like even in homes, I've heard people say, Mondays or Wednesdays are my laundry days.
Yep.
So they'll organize tasks to days.
Because otherwise I can't get all of it done in one day. And my other tip that I actually learned from my manager right now at my full-time job, she does a great job at this. And I've really taken an example from her. But what she'll do is every month she'll set a goal. So like a big goal that may be a little bit too high or a little bit like not out of reach, but it's like almost the top of Mount Everest. It's not the top of Mount Everest, but it's almost there. And so you're looking at it, you're like, whoa. But then she'll also list out some ideas and plan out some things and how to get there. And so she breaks it up into small little mini goals that every week or maybe every 2 weeks you're like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then before you know it, by the end of the month, you've reached that goal plus some, So I learned that from her, and she does a great job of figuring out the details and making it small, making that big, huge goal smaller. So I started doing that, and it's a lot easier. If you look at the big picture of what you're trying to achieve, it's like, it's going to blow your mind. You're going to be like, no, I can't do that. That's too much. But if you make that goal and kind of set it aside and do the daily small little increments, and it really is small. If you think about it, if you do your due diligence every day, put in the hour or the 30 minutes or take the time to make that phone call or make that follow-up or just that message or anything like that, the small seeds, and you're planting, at the end of the month, you're like, whoa, I met my goal plus some. And that was much easier than I thought. If you look at your main goal and work backwards in that sense, you won't make it. And I learned that
it adds up.
Yeah. Because
it just seems too overwhelming.
Yeah. You're like, man, this is huge. I can't do this. That's like standing at the bottom of Everest. And you're like, I can't get up there. But if you think, okay, no, I just need to get to the first step or to the first camp.
I feel like that's the reason I procrastinate so many times, because I'm just looking at the whole task I have to do, and it's like, I don't even want to start.
It's too much. I can't. Yep.
That's kind of the tip that I wanted to talk about, and similar to that, like if you have something like, let's say you have to organize your closet or all your craft supplies, if you have a hobby that you use a lot of things for, sometimes we don't do it just because it seems like so much work and you're waiting for that whole Saturday or for a whole weekend when you're not doing anything else, but you have to do that one thing, and we might not get it done for next half a year just because it seems like you need 2 days to do that. So what I started doing, and it worked for me, is take little parts of that organizing plan and just do I'll do a to-do list by hangers, by labels, something like that. So I already have part of that ready for organization. The next day, I'll have a little thing like, I don't know, just look through winter jackets and donate whatever you don't need. And then, area by area, you got the whole thing done within a month, and you don't have to wait for half a year for a whole weekend that you need for that. So you break it down into different days. So it's kind of similar to that, but just with other things. Yeah, so it works for me.
I like that. The other thing I noticed is that I want things done fast, and I think a lot of people, you want results quick, especially with my own business, because you get a little bit of pressure. You're your own boss, which is great, and you make all the decisions yourself. But then on the other hand, you also are like, ooh, it's a little bit of pressure because you're not on your own, but you're the boss. So you got to make it happen in a way versus, having someone else tell you, hey, this is how we'll make it happen. But it's a great thing in the end if you don't think, oh, I want it right now. I want immediate results. If you want immediate results with anything, weight loss, health, what else? Work, retirement, money. I mean, anything, time. It's not going to work. The only thing that's so really immediate is social media and the ways that you can access where to go eat or what restaurant, you want to visit next time. But the things that matter, you got to give it some time for sure. You got to give yourself, you mentioned make a deadline. You got to give yourself a reasonable deadline. And you got to think, okay, if I want this big, huge goal, I got to give myself reasonable time to get it. But don't also make it so long that it's like that, oh, I have all afternoon to get it done, and it takes you all afternoon. It takes you that whole time when it's like, I think you could have done that quicker. You just needed to put in a little bit more effort. Yeah.
But I think what's the most important thing is the first step. Just start doing it.
Yes.
No matter how big it seems, how hard it seems, start doing it. And then just because you already started it, there's more chances that you'll want to finish it as soon as possible.
They give that tip for procrastinators all the time. They say, okay, if there's something you really don't want to do, just tell yourself, I'm just going to do it for 5 minutes or 15 minutes.
Just start it. Okay.
And the thing is, when you get started on it, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. And most of the time, you'll end up working past 5 minutes. Yeah. But it's to kind of trick your brain into saying, okay, you're only going to do it for 5 minutes. So that's okay. Just suffer through for 5 minutes and you'll be fine.
I like it. I just start. I like it. Okay, I wanted to play a little game with you ladies. We all have our mess. We all have it. But we are going to help each other out here. And then if you're at home, you can do it as well. Each of us will say what we struggle with that needs a little bit more organizing, whatever it is. And the other two will tell you if you're going to use it or lose it. So what you can do or what you can take out of it or do away with completely to help you with that situation. Okay. So I'm going to put you in the spot first, Tama. You go first.
Okay, so I'm always going to go. I have a daytime job. I have projects. I have trips. And then, I have a huge family, so you go here and there.
How many are in your family, by the way?
There are 12 of us.
Wow.
So if you plan something with one person, 2 days later you plan something with another person, that's a lot of things going on. Yeah. So I have a lot of stuff in my car. That's like my second home. Even worse. Like I bring things that I might need throughout the week. Like I have extra outfit. I have everything that I might need for my business. I have all these things that I might need throughout the week. So I need help organizing my car and to kind of figure out, do I need all that with me or if I do need all of that, how do I organize it in my car?
Okay, I will tell you what to use first.
Okay. Yes.
My initial reaction. I'm going to tell you to use, because you told me this about closets, is look what's in there. And if in those 5 minutes that you're looking at it and you see it, if you would use it then keep it. If you're not going to use it past those 5 minutes, lose it. Easier said than done. Take your time.
I might need it.
There's no deadline.
See, it works at home, but in my car, I always feel like, what if I'm stuck somewhere and I might need it?
Well, also they actually sell, I think, little things that you can put in your car, like organizing drawers or something.
On the back of the seats.
Yeah, something like that where you can actually store things in your car. Because a lot of people, they basically, that's like their second home. They're driving around all the time. They live in it. But my other tip would be, once a week, like I was saying, maybe Sunday night, once a week, just go through and take out what you might need, what you might not need for the week, and leave what you think you'll need for the week. My thing would be my purse.
Okay.
I can never get my purse organized. I don't even know if it's possible. So, quick tips.
You both have huge purses. Yes. I mean, I have a tiny purse.
They're called suitcases. That's another word for
Okay,
them.
so how do you do it?
Everything's in my car. Okay. So everything in my car, you carry in your purse.
Okay. I'm going to tell you to use at least one pen.
Ooh, okay.
Lose the rest.
But I lose that pen halfway through the day.
That's gonna make you treasure that pen. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you to use. Oh man, this is harder. I'm gonna tell you to use. Use less paper because I'm looking at your purse right now. Any documents that you don't need that day, take them out. Don't keep them in there.
True.
There you go. Mine is my closet. My closet, I have clothes from high school still that don't fit. They don't work. They're out of style. But I have that same statement. I'm like, but what if I need it one day?
Lose it. I have a solution for that.
Wait. But what if there's a high school dress up party and I can
go to Goodwill?
You can go to Goodwill and.
Okay, so how am I going to lose it? I just need to try it on, stand in front of the mirror.
Yeah, you know what? There's a technique. You try it on. If you don't see yourself wearing it again, you lose it. And you don't put it back to get rid of it later. You take it out of your closet. If it's somewhere not in your closet, but in any other room or any other place in your house, there's more chance that you're going to get rid of it within a day or two.
Ooh, I heard that tip as well. The clothes that you have not worn in a while, take it out of your closet and put it in a box. Right? Put it in a box.
Okay.
And give it half a year or something And if you go back to that box and you realize, oh, like I didn't miss this at all, or on the opposite hand, if maybe throughout like those months you're like, wait, I would really love to wear that at this time, then you could take it back. But if not, if it stays in that box for the whole 6 months, it's time to throw it away.
Okay, that's a little bit easier. I think I can do that. Okay. So I don't have to get rid of it right away.
You get used to it. Okay.
I like that. So everyone at home, I hope you enjoyed this session and the show that we had. Again, we're going to call it Beautiful Mess because we want you to know it's okay, but let's keep it just at beautiful and take out the mess and kind of organize it through and figuring out. Our challenge is going to just keep going with our eating lifestyle. So we're going to keep that. It's a 30-day challenge. So we'll keep going at it. If you guys have a challenge you want us to do this week, let us know.
As a human being.
Definitely do it. But we wanted to let you know that we will be on our page giving a call to action to help out people in Houston. So check us out in a little bit. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Good night.